Hello YouTube. So I have an interesting bit of subject matter for this video. This is about common board repairs, like for video cards, for gaming consoles, and methodologies used, and things that can happen that do not make sense and are not easy to figure out, like, what the F is going on here, that can really trip you up. Specifically, if you switch what multimeter you're using or get a different multimeter. So, a common diagnostic procedure when you're probing to see, are different components good or not, is you have your meter on resistance. And you go, and right now, we're going to look at this little resistor right here. I had to look around to pick out, it needs to be something that has a high enough resistance or something that's not a resistor. A bit of background, you can use resistance mode to probe things on a board that aren't resistors and still get a value because you're measuring the DC resistance of everything in that circuit from the points that you're measuring. And that can be valid because you can just, like, what's the resistance at this capacitor? It's a capacitor. Well, no. It's a capacitor that's mounted on a board and connected to everything else in that part of the circuit. So you can, and often will, get a specific repeatable resistance value. And if you have two exact same boards and you compare the exact same capacitor looking for a resistance reading, you can get the same resistance reading because you're comparing duplicate circuits and you're using the same, effectively, test points. So, going from there, this is not a capacitor. This is a little resistor, but we are measuring it while it's still connected to circuit. So we're going to be probing at a resistor, but the thing to keep in mind is it's connected to everything else there. So I'll shut up for a second and I'll show you what happens. So here, this is my Keithley GDM-8342. It's like a $5,000 7.5 digit multimeter. It is a very high authority on what this says is accurate for what you're reading. And then, if we want to go even further, we have the 3458A, but I don't want to, like, move the field of view up and down, and you can a lot more easily see that. So we'll use that to start with. So, sorry about that. Let's go ahead and measure this SMD resistor. That one right there. So, we have 10K. All right. Now, watch this. $7.47K? Interesting. Now, let's say I didn't flip these and I just started like this. So I'm getting 7.47K there. Let's go to this mid-range meter. This is a Instek GDM-8342. Instead of like 5,000 new, this is more like 400 or 500 new. Actually, no, I think it's more like 700 or 800. You can get it a lot less used. I sell it for less used, but whatever. It's an order of magnitude cheaper, approximately. And so, same like this. Let's go and get the same resistor. Remember, our last reading was 7.47K. The Instek is saying 8.412 kilo ohm, and it's giving a pretty stable reading. And just so we can see it, we'll go ahead and flip these again, because, yeah, for completeness. Now we're getting 10.1K. Let's go ahead and flip back. So, negative in left hand. Now, let's go over to the Fluke 289. The 289 is, in my opinion, the best field multimeter ever made. That's subjective, but it's really a very, very good field multimeter. Fluke makes very reliable field multimeters, and the 289 has long stood out as the king of their portable meters. So, black on the left side, red on the right. We are on ohms. And let's see what this says. So this is saying 10.1K. And let's try flipping these around and see if anything changes. And in this case, flipping it around did not change things, and we still have 10.1K. So, what is happening? And if you're willing to take my word for it, all of these meters are working properly. But you just saw them all give different answers. So, why, when I'm asking for the same thing, I asked the Keithley for ohms, how much resistance is here? I asked the Instek, hey, how much resistance is here? I asked the Fluke, hey, how much resistance is here? I'm asking for the same thing on the same test point. Why are we getting different results? The answer comes down to voltage output profiles. I believe there's other ways to describe this, but here, I will show you what it looks like. Let me grab some test leads. Is this what I want? Or do I already have them out? Oh, it's these. Okay. So, first, that's a Keysight 34465A. It is a high-end 6.5-digit multimeter, and it's about like half the cost-ish of one of these. Probably more than that new, but it's a reliable and accurate multimeter. We have this on voltage mode. So, first, losing my oscilloscope probe cap there. I'm going to bring over the DMM check here. I'm using this because it has a set decade of precision resistors from 100 ohm to 100,000 ohm. I need a bigger bench. So, let's go ahead and do the Keithley first. Oh, and important, the reason I'm using this for voltage is it's simplest for me to set the input impedance. So right now, this meter in voltage mode is a 10 mega ohm resistor. That is its input impedance, 10 mega ohms. I'm going to change it to auto, and that'll take it to the giga ohm range, which will, I think it's like 10 giga ohms, which just shows as open to this, because this isn't an ultra-high resistance meter. That's a specialty thing. So, when a multimeter is trying to measure the highest possible resistance, it's going to put out a higher voltage on its terminals. Because this is how a meter measures resistance. It puts voltage out, and it knows what voltage it's putting out, and then that voltage goes through the resistor, and it measures what current it has, and then you just have Ohm's law. If you have a relationship between voltage, current, and resistance. Your current times, or blah, I'm having a brain malfunction. So, if you have a set resistance of like 1 ohm, and you have 1 volt, and you have that volt going through that 1 ohm resistor, you're going to get 1 amp. If you have 10 volts through that 1 ohm resistor, you're going to get 10 amps. Now, if you go back to 1 volt and you have a 10 ohm resistor, you're going to have 0.1 amps or 100 milliamps. So the meter knows what voltage it's putting out accurately. It then measures what current goes through the circuit, and from there, through simple, multiplication, division. Pardon me one moment. I've had a long day and a drive to Detroit. One sec. Yeah, okay. So, it divides, like, voltage over current equals resistance. If you have a current of 1 milliamp and your voltage is 10 volts, then you can solve for your resistance. If your voltage is 10 volts and you have like 1 amp is going through there, then you know that your resistance is on a 10-to-1 ratio. You have 10 ohms. And that's what it does. Multimeters use different voltages for different resistance ranges. And that isn't universal. The manufacturer decides what voltage they want to use for what resistance range for what makes sense for their hardware design. They're all going to measure resistance accurately. But when you're trying to measure a resistance value off of something that isn't a resistor but a complex circuit, this is where you get all these different readings, because the different output voltages are interacting with diodes and their threshold voltages in the circuit. They're interacting with varistors. They're interacting with complex transistor circuits. And because some of those are actively turning on, at least partially, and like halfway waking up because of the voltage this is putting out, different voltages coming out of your meter will produce different results if you're measuring something in a circuit. Not always, which confuses you more. If you have a 1 ohm resistor, then the resistance of the entire rest of the circuit is in parallel with that 1 ohm resistor. And the whole rest of the circuit would basically have to be a dead short to change what you're measuring on that 1 ohm resistor. So if you're testing lower value resistors on a board, you're probably not going to have this issue. But if you're getting into the range of a resistor that's like kilo ohms and up, then you start to see this weirdness. And I'll show you. So at the maximum output, the Keithley GDM-8342 puts out basically 6.9 volts. At max, the Instek puts out 5.585 volts. The Fluke 289 puts out the lowest voltage, And there's a reason for this. This is battery powered. It makes sense for the hardware design of a battery powered meter to use the lowest possible voltages because you want the batteries to last the longest. So on this highest range, it's putting out 3.88 volts with a little more fluctuation because battery powered devices aren't going to be as stable most of the time. I don't have a specific meter that is relevant for this situation, but there is a cute, tiny little Owon bench meter. It's nice, small. It runs on a battery, and I think it's like a 4.5 digit or 55,000 count. But the important thing here is it's also battery powered. That doesn't mean it's going to have the same voltage, the exact same. It doesn't mean that, although it might. But it means that in terms of hardware, it will have been designed to use more energy efficient methods of testing resistance. I believe there is a plug-in version, but I guarantee you they did not spend money to engineer two different meter circuits. All they would have done is slap in a whatever the voltage was power supply that they needed, or they would have a little power brick with a little jack at the end to supply the same power that their battery would. That makes the most sense. It's the cheapest way to have a meter, and then if you want to put out one that can plug into the wall where you started off with a battery powered meter, that's what you do. You don't spend the money to re-engineer it. You just get a wall plug that will give you that voltage, or you basically take the wall plug circuit and you just jam it in the meter, and you leave everything else the same because that's the cheapest thing to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we're seeing that these are putting out different voltages. 6.9, 5.7, yeah. So the next thing I want to show you is how this changes while measuring different resistances. Because remember, these amounts change when measuring different resistances. So let's say we're measuring, here's 100 ohms, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. So if we measure 100 ohms, now you can see right there on the key site, the voltage dropped down to 100 millivolts. Now, in part, that's because of voltage drop across the resistor. And in part, that's also, I'm just going to use the clips. In part, that's also because the Keithley is lowering its output voltage. That's harder to see on low resistances, because if I go and dead short this, then you see like 0.6 microvolts. Because if I'm dead shorting this, I'm mostly dead shorting that as well. So it's more visible when you go up in range. So let's go to the 1000K resistor. Here we're measuring accurately, or sorry, 1K resistor. And we have just under a volt. Now let's go over to the 10K resistor. And we are still at 1 volt on the Keithley. Now the 10K range is, I think, relevant for here. So let's leave it on this resistor. You see we're getting 1 volt out of this. And let's try the other meters at 10K. So here we're also getting 10K, 9.997. It's the same reading within tolerance. But instead of, what was it, 999 volts, or instead of just under 1 volt, it's basically a volt, 984 millivolts, we get 841 millivolts. Now, if you're probing in an active circuit and you have ICs that run off sometimes as low as like 1.2 volts, the difference between just under a volt and 84% of a volt will make those act differently. Let's try the Fluke. Now, the Fluke, just like all the others, is accurately measuring 10 kilo ohm. But over here, because this is designed to be as energy efficient as possible, because Fluke wanted the batteries to last the longest, instead of nearly a volt, it's a tenth of that. It's only putting out 100 millivolts, which means for a lot of the active circuits like diodes when you're getting close to their threshold voltages, and even low voltage ICs that run off as low as like 1.2 volts, that will cause the least interaction with some of those components. But importantly, other of the components it will still interact with. Now, does this mean you can't use resistance mode to diagnose video cards, diagnose Xboxes, PlayStations? No, of course you can. You just have to be aware that you're not really measuring a resistance value. You're measuring, in effect, circuit reactance at a specific input voltage. And because of that, different meters putting out different voltages will yield sometimes the same results if they're close enough or the same in terms of output voltage on resistance, or they will give you wildly different results, as we've seen. And this can be just frustrating as hell, because if you've used a specific meter and you've done a repair on like a PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo Switch 100 times, and you just have the values that you've taken with your Fluke or your Owon or your Instek memorized for, yep, I know this value, I'm getting 10K on this resistor, I know that's good. And then you switch over to a different meter, all of a sudden some of your readings look exactly the same, like ones that are in a pretty simple circuit, or lower resistance items, like a fuse resistor that's 0 ohms or 0.1 ohms. You're going to get the same value. But then some of the things you probe at are just going to give you wildly different values. And you start thinking, is this thing bad? Is my meter bad? No. Neither of those things is the case. You have memorized a set of values that aren't resistances, but are usable, good values, as long as you're using the same meter, or a meter that has similar voltage profiles for its output. And yeah, if you swap meters, that can be frustrating. So advice for, like, this came up because of a situation that happened. I had a customer that bought one of these Insteks, and he does repairs. He does a lot of repairs on gaming consoles and such. And he does so many of them that he has all these values practically memorized. Just a huge amount of useful data that comes from an immense amount of experience. And now he has a different meter, and it's telling him different things some of the time. So, for that specific situation, what makes more sense? I mean, you could relearn all the different values that you're expecting. I don't think that's reasonable. If you're doing repair as a business, you probably want to stick with something that will give you a reading profile that you're used to and that you can use. So that would be my advice for that specific customer. But yeah, for anyone else who's run into this, who's been doing console repairs, video card repairs, and you swapped meters, and all of a sudden you're wondering, why is this meter a piece of crap and giving completely different results than everything I know should be on that board? It's like, I took a board that I repaired, I know is good, I remember the reading. Why is it different now? This is why. Okay. This was something of an edge case for me. It was interesting to go through the mental process of figuring it out, and hopefully this will be of use to someone. Bye.